Hello, friends, YouTube viewers. Good morning. This is Professor Ruben B. Parungao, a retired professor from the University of Perpetual Help System Delta, Las Piñas College of Arts and Sciences. Today, August 18, 2024, Sunday, I take pleasure to continue to you the sharing on the life of Rizal, his higher education, life abroad, including writings, friends that he met abroad, as well as scientists, doctors he met abroad, and the countries in Europe that he visited. May I start this continuation on Chapter 4, on overview and summary of said chapter. Number 1, Rizal studied in high school at Ateneo Municipal in Manila when he was only 11 years old, and said school was said to be run by the Spanish Jesuit friars that taught him discipline and religious instruction, and he obtained his degree of arts and letters in said school. Subsequently, Rizal pursued the study of philosophy of arts and letters as a preparatory course for medicine at UST Manila, run by Dominican friars. He did not obtain a degree of medicine at UST, but graduated fourth year medicine there too. It means that he did not have a diploma in medicine at UST, but he obtained it abroad, particularly in Spain at Universidad Central de Madrid. Number 3, the number of years Rizal spent studying Manila is 10 years, from 1872 up to 1882. Rizal then started studying at age 11. Number 4, this chapter also tells us about Rizal's travel abroad, joining organization of Filipino compatriots like the propaganda movement, Masonry, the short-lived Círculo Hispano-Filipino, and Rizal met in person the propagandists like Marcelo H. del Pilar, Graciano Lopez Haina, Juan Luna, Felix Resurrección Hidalgo, Melesio Figueroa, Valentin Ventura, Eduardo Delete, Pedro Maximo and Antonio's surname Paterno, Maximo Viola, as well as the European doctors like Dr. Louis de Wecker, a French ophthalmologist, Dr. Otto Becker, a German eye specialist, Dr. Adolf Meyer, anthropology director at Dresden, Germany, Dr. Fyodor Hagor, a German anthropologist, author of Travels in the Philippines, Madame Lucie Serdole, a special language teacher of Rizal in his mastery of German, French, and Italian. Number 5, this chapter also tells us about the women in the life of Rizal, negating the impression that our national hero is a womanizer. He is not. The women fell in love with him notably because of his traits and character. And these women are Segunda Katigbak, Leonor Rivera, Consuelo Ortiga E. Perez, Osei San, a Japanese, Gertrude Becker, an English woman, where Rizal spent his Christmas. Number 5, this chapter tells us also about the first and second homecoming of Rizal to Calamba, as Rizal experienced the first Spanish brutality. Number 6, this chapter tells us also about the publication abroad in Germany of Rizal's first novel, known as Noli Me Tangere or Touch Me Not, on March 21, 1887. Rizal's second novel, known as El Filibusterismo or The Reign of Greed, was finished when Rizal was already in the Philippines. but it was published at Brussels, Belgium in 1891, and this chapter includes Rizal's other famous writings, like In Memory of My Town, when he was only at his high school years, as well as his literary competition in Ateneo, El Consejo de los Dioses, Junto al Pasig, and poems written in high school at Ateneo like Felicitación, El Embarque, Himno a la Flota de Magallanes, Me Piden Versos, or They Ask Me for My Verses. And continually, I share to you now the last part of my lecture or dialogue with you about the historical significance and objective knowledge that we can obtain from chapter 4. Number 1, take note of this objective knowledge. Very important for us to remember our national hero. Nawala na naman. Tuloy ko lang. There are 23 items that I share to you now. Number 1, La Solidaridad. It is a newspaper organ of the propaganda movement abroad. Who is Dr. Miguel Moraita? He is a Spanish liberal doctor that gave freedom in the study of science and protection of teachers that resulted in student demonstration where the students sided with him, including Rizal, and said incident gave Rizal some sort of injury when he participated in said demonstration. Number 4, the famous German friend of Rizal, Ferdinand Blumentritt, said to be his mentor, or he always informed this person on matters of events happening to him abroad. Spanish Governor General Emilio Terrero is a Governor General in the Philippines that requested Rizal to go to Malacanang and inquired about his writing of his novels. Number 6, Uncle Tom's Cabin, a writing that inspired Rizal to write Denoli, and said Uncle Tom's Cabin is said to be written by Harriet Beecher Stowe. Number 7, a famous writing of Rizal, A la Juventud Filipina or Filipina, where it is Rizal's first poem saying that our youth, the Filipino youth, is the hope of our fatherland. When Rizal was in high school, there was a division or classification of students. If you are an internos or within, you are called an emperor. But if you are an outsider, you will be called Carthaginian. And Rizal was a Carthaginian, but later on became a member of the Roman Empire, and he led the class in said class classification. Graciano Lopez Haina, one of the propagandists, a noted Filipino orator and pamphleteer. He wrote the so-called Fray Boton as a satirical novel against the Spanish friar equivalent to Noli Me Tangere. Segunda Katigbak is a woman that came to the life of Rizal, but it was unfortunate that their relationship did not continue because Segunda Katigbak was already engaged to Manuel Luz. Junta el Pasig or Junta al Pasig is a zarzuela performed by Rizal's classmate in Ateneo in the year 1880. Maximo Viola, a very famous and scientist, medical students abroad that helped Rizal in his financial difficulties, particularly financing the expenses for the publication of the Noli Me Tangere. And Maximo Viola received the first copy of Noli Me Tangere. Brussels Verdun is a place where the second novel of Rizal, known as El Filibusterismo or The Reign of the Greed, was published in 1891. Hong Kong is said to be the place where Rizal wrote the Constitution of La Liga Filipina. Who is Dr. Louis de Wecker? He is a famous leading French ophthalmologist that became friend of Rizal. Espularium, a famous painting made by our hero Juan Luna that exposed the brutality of the Spaniards, giving us the impression that we were slaves of the Spaniards in this painting. And the second notable painting is about Virgin exposed to the populace, made by Felix Resurrección Hidalgo, that obtained a second prize in said competition, while the Espularium got the first prize. Dr. Karl Ulmer is a kind German pastor where Rizal spent his summer vacation for 3 months. Number 20, Dr. Otto Becker, a German ophthalmologist and director of the school in Heidelberg where Rizal worked in his clinic. 21, the ship named Gemna, very famous transport vessel that carried Rizal to Europe, and he's coming back. The same ship was ridden by Rizal. Who is Talmis? Talmis is a secret name given to Leonor Rivera in order for their relationship to be hidden. And lastly, February 17, 1872, the date of the execution of the Filipino priest named Gumbursa or Gomez, Burgos, and Zamora. Notably, it was said that the Gumbursa was fighting for the representation of Filipino priests to serve as a regular priest in their respective parishes, but falsely they were falsely charged to be behind the so-called Cavite Mutiny of 1872. That ends our study of Chapter 4. Good day again, my friends. I am pleased to leave you my contact number, 0917-186-3735. I repeat, 0917-186-3735. Retired Professor Ruben B. Parungao Jr. Thank you very much and God bless us all. Tapos, chapter 4.